Velkommen alle sammen, different video for you here today. I'm here to speak about Norse pagan high festivals. I do a lot of videos about these and the sources of the traditions and holidays we had in the north of Europe in very ancient times, and how they were historically actually practiced. But a lot of you have asked, how can we celebrate these in our modern day? And in my opinion, modern festivals are actually some of the most historically accurate things that we can do today to celebrate the old pagan traditions. So in this video, I'm going to speak about why, and also give you a couple little tips that you might like.
Oh, the king himself. Mike, what the fuck you doing, bro?
Alright, check this out. That's how you sneak a vodka in the festival. You take the pouch, the little gooch bottle, it's nice and soft. You get up in your gooch. The pants gotta be off, it's gotta go in the boxers. You gotta clip this on to the little hole where your dick's supposed to come out of, and then you scooch it under there. No one, if they pat you down, they won't see anything. Kilt is even better, they won't pat it down, and that's how you do it. I have a vodka bottle in my nuts, and they didn't want to pat me down, so that's the way it goes.
First and most important, ancient festivals were the event of the year. And the Norse tradition, these would be 3 or 4 of them per year that absolutely everyone in the country would be participating in. Some of them would have had to travel from very, very long away places, and these would be huge with tens of thousands of people. Really, some of them would be almost the whole country there. People all gathered for a common good. Just like this festival here, which was actually about 50,000 people total. So why would all of these people be gathering at these very special places in ancient times? Well, of course, the main reason is for the party, plain and simple, but also for the spirituality and the religion. Now, a party is not at all difficult to find at this rave like you're going to see here, which is why most of the people are here anyway.
Stop, dude!
And this would be exactly the same thousands of years ago. You know, the goal for most of the general people at these ancient festivals would be to simply get together and have a good time with their loved ones. For others, there was a spiritual element to it, which I will speak about towards the end of the video, but first let's speak about some other aspects that you are seeing here at these modern festivals that you might find at ancient festivals too. First, decorations, lights, attractions. You bet that these things would be all decked out back in Viking times and before. Okay, I know with not all the technology and organization as you are seeing here, but of course there would be more primitive decorations in previous times, but the central focus would most likely be around some sort of sacred place like a grove or well or tree or fountain. These sacred places would always be the location of an ancient high festival. Who knows, it might look something similar to what you're seeing in this fountain right here. What else would we find in ancient festivals? Well, feasts, eating and drinking. The biggest ancient festivals would have been based around the harvests, which is exactly what time of year it is now actually, and all the animals would have been slaughtered at this time, all the vegetables would have been harvested, and it would be time to pig out, just like I'm about to do at some of these beautiful food stands, and you best believe I will be getting drunk just like they would 1,000 years ago as well. You know, paganism is not the religion of sobriety, my friends. There are thousands and thousands of ancient sources that tell about how much these sacred festivals involved alcohol and how much the spirituality and religion and festivities involved alcohol. Now, I know there are a lot of modern straight edge people in the pagan community, and that's fine if you want to be, but alcohol was a big part of ancient pagan practice, if you want to do it historically at least. Just something to think about. What else? Well, meeting old friends. In Viking times, they didn't have cell phones or emails or ways of staying in touch. Sometimes you may not see your best friends or closest kin for many years at a time. So festivals like these, gathering with people who live far away that you haven't seen for a long time, is absolutely something that would be a central part of the ancient high festivals. Today we call it the Rave fam instead of close of kin, but it's the same concept. It's about people that you haven't seen in a while. What else might we find at an ancient pagan festival? Well, games, sports, competitions. Don't forget, the greatest warriors and heroes in the whole country would be getting together, and friendly competition would be a central focus. In the Viking Age, things like archery, swimming, fruiting, axe throwing, wrestling, other strength activities like that, those are a few of the most popular sports that were played. There aren't any of these at these festivals, but I did get to swing a little shitty hammer at least, so that's something. What else? Well, music, of course. Even more so than today, in ancient festivals, they would be focused around music and other performances. Of course, back then, they didn't have the speaker systems and amplification that we do today, so ancient festivals back then would have been much more smaller stages and audiences, but there would have been many more musicians traveling from all over the lands, and there would be still the same thing, a non-stop flow of music, just the same as festivals today. Compare festivals today that maybe have 4 or 5 really massive stages with thousands of spectators at each one, but in ancient times there would be probably more like 50 stages with a few dozen spectators at each one. Now finally, before I finish the video, to speak about the spiritual aspect of it. This would be a time of the year to call upon the gods, the spirits, the ancestor, nature, whatever you want to call it. You know, contrary to the modern cringe pagans who think that they can call on gods whenever they have a bad day, the historical sources say that the gods were really only contacted at a few very special times of year, and this would be one of them. Now, people believe in gods and spirituality to come to them in many different ways. Some of the people at these festivals like to take certain substances in order to get a spiritual benefit out of it. I definitely approve, and I think people should be free to use whatever substances they want for their religious and spiritual practices. But me, myself, I am not a fan of most of those. I prefer to do things the natural way, so for me, it's about feeling the music and getting in the trance, similar to the way a shaman might work themselves up into a state like this. So for me, I prefer the minimal techno. I don't like all the loud, squeaky, bullshitty dubstep sound. You know, instead of 40 different electronic sounds going on at once in a song, I prefer 5 to 10 basic primal sounds only getting mixed together in a loop. It makes it much more easier to disappear into the music, into a trance, and this is what we call minimal techno. Actually, in my research, I think I have seen enough evidence that spirits and other higher beings are attracted to these types of minimal sounds and music. But that's a long subject for another video. Either way, you can bet that I got a little spiritual gain out of this. Not my best festival that I've been to, but the point is to try and leave the body and let the higher power take over. And this is the key actually to most spiritual things in the Norse practices, and that's actually what Odin's name really means. So hopefully you learned a little bit, and I hope I inspired you to maybe take a look at one of these festivals for yourself if you are a pagan and interested in exploring a little bit more about these things. So that's all for today. Vi ses nästa gång.